Hello, entrepreneurs. We're still talking partnerships. And I told you in the last video that you wanted to make sure that you had everything in order. Remember, whenever you connect yourself to someone, you are not just connecting your name, but you're connecting money, you're connecting liability, you're connecting assets. And that is something that once you get in it, you can get out, but it's going to cost you and it has to be done the right way. Also, it goes on your taxes, as we discussed before. That's why it's so important to know who you're getting into business with. And often, the only thing we think about is how that person can benefit us, whether it be some money, but you need to make sure you discuss terms. That's where everything falls apart. When you do not have the terms set, when you do not know exactly how you're going to make the money, or I'm sorry, how you're going to repay the money, how you're going to split the profits. The other portion is you never really want one of the partners to be the one handling the money. That can always become sketchy. You always want someone on the outside or someone immediate, and you want to make sure that it's balanced, that you have at least 3 people on a bank account. I know that that's kind of changed. People frown upon it. You know, banks don't really like all of the signatures, but you want to make sure you have access to those accounts and that you're only using it for business purposes. You don't want to dip. You don't want to take loans. If you're going to take loans, do the real paperwork, charge interest, have repayment schedules, the whole nine. And you can really avoid loans if you start out doing everything the right way. If you're both going to contribute, make sure your equity is equal. Make sure both of you put in the same amount of money. If you say, well, I don't have the money, but I have the credit, you need that in black and white. And then you need to make sure that as you present, what is that credit worth? Like using the credit of one person. And so, for example, where I was headed with this, if you go to get a loan, and most people do not realize this, and this will be a whole nother video, that in a business loan, you still have to put something down. So if you go to get a loan and one person's credit is stronger and the other person has the down payment, now what that credit is worth is probably the equivalent of whatever the down payment was. But that needs to be in writing so that both of you know you have equal equity. You want to make sure that your bookkeeper or whomever is tracking your business, your bookkeeper, CPA, that it's recorded that way. You want documentation. You want it signed. You want it notarized. Remember, documentation is everything. And a lot of times when we're excited about business, when we think we know people, and when we have our eye on the prize of the profit and the business, we forget and overlook steps that cost you so much later. And you really don't want to do that because, like I always say, everything is good until it's not good. Ask any person that's ever gone through a divorce. Ask any person who's ever closed a business. It's good until it's not good anymore. So, partnerships part 2. Make sure you do your due diligence. Think of all the things that could go wrong. You even want to discuss with that partner the way you do business. Most people bond on the business. Hey, let's open a retail store. Let's do t-shirts together. And you bond. And you say, oh, I know people and people are always looking for t-shirts. I have ideas and I want to do. You bond on the idea of t-shirts. Now you need to sit down and put together the the how, the what, the when, the why, and to what extent. You want to answer all of those questions. How are we going to do it? Who's going to do what? Who's more savvy on the computer to do the design? How are we going to bid the business? Do we come together and bid it? Because one partner will have a set of friends who will feel like they have access to now a discounted t-shirt company. The other partner will have another group that feels the same way. You two have to agree, shutting out everybody else to decide how we're going to do business. What does a discount look like? To whom? Why? Everything. It has to make sense. Sometimes it will require both of you on a call, and you guys have to be in sync. That means you have to talk before you talk to someone else, so you're not arguing or discussing in front of the new client or the potential client. There are so many different things that you have to talk about. The structure of the company. Are we an LLC? Are we an S corp? All of those things, and those things have to be answered sooner rather than later. Partnerships are good until they are not. It's been your girl, the Queen Bee of Doing Business Better. That was Partnership Part 2. Bye-bye.